The Instigators is a new Apple TV Plus film starring Matt Damon and Casey Affleck. So today, let's see if it's worth your time. Hey everybody, my name's Justin here. I try to watch everything that hits theaters and on streaming services like Apple TV Plus. If you guys are like me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and click that bell notification for more up and coming content. Rory and Cobby are unlikely partners thrown together for a heist. However, when it goes wrong, they team up to outrun police, backwards bureaucrats, and a vengeful crime boss. For the longest time, I thought this film's title was The Investigators. I tried to log it on Letterboxd, could not find this film. I told my wife I was going to sit down and watch The Investigators. After it was over, I realized the film is called The Instigators. This film made really no impression on me. It's a pretty generic movie from a really good director, Doug Liman, with a great cast in here. You have Matt Damon and Casey Affleck, Hung Chow and Jack Harlow, Paul Walter Heiser, Ron Perlman, Ving Rhames, Alfred Molina, Toby Jones. It's a pretty stacked cast in here. And I was looking forward to seeing Casey Affleck and Matt Damon together. But this film, it had its action, it had some comedy, but none of it stood out. None of it felt like it was unique or something I've never seen before, or it was groundbreaking. It just felt like I've seen a lot of it, and a lot of it did feel forced. The chemistry between Casey Affleck and Matt Damon does feel very natural. They've known each other for quite some time, so I think a lot of it does flow for them. Where Casey Affleck, he's drunk and he is very confident in pulling off these heists, where Matt Damon, he needs only about $32,000 and then he could go his ways, and he wants to use that money to help out his son. And he takes a lot of notes. He's very unprepared. His way of getting out of a heist is just saying, I have a gun. And then he thinks that will solve all his problems. Matt Damon's character, you don't really feel like he's unprepared. They don't do a lot in here comedic wise to make him feel that he is unequipped for this job, that he stands out from Casey Affleck's character and he doesn't know what to do. They tell us that within this film, but I don't really feel that vibe throughout this movie as he's taking little notes about taking left or right turn or whatever. So many times within this film, I'm supposed to feel that he's unequipped for these heists, but I don't really get that sense within this movie. As the movie's tone, it feels very quiet at times. Like it's a slow moving film that doesn't have this score that amplifies these scenes or a lot of energy to it. It feels very tame and lackluster throughout this whole entire movie. And the film does rely on Casey Affleck and Matt Damon's chemistry throughout, but there's not a lot of back and forth between the two. They curse each other out occasionally, they get on each other's nerves, but they don't really go to like the extreme with that to really understand that they are very different and they get on each other's nerves throughout this film. I have a few heists throughout this movie with Jack Harlow and Matt Damon and Casey Affleck, but you never really feel any tension or any urgency, like there's going to be this threat come across their way as they're pulling off this heist. It's very quick, generic directing from Doug Liman. Right off the bat with setting the tone, you don't really feel in any sort of intensity coming off of this heist. And then it tries to have some action scenes thrown throughout. They're fine. They're nothing like bad or anything, but it's nothing really interesting either. And then the film starts to transition into like this drama for Matt Damon. Why does he want only $32,000? How does he view himself as a person? And then Hung Chow's character starts to become more involved with the film, and she plays his therapist, and that allows for Matt Damon's character to open up a little more, and it feels really out of place. Like you have this whole heist that's going on, a lot of action, and then you have like this drama at the end that's supposed to be very personal, and I think it worked for the character, but it felt so out of left field, and like there was no natural build up to that scene. It's supposed to have this dramatic sense towards the end of the movie, but it didn't really pay off. It didn't have any of that kind of progression towards that moment, and you really didn't feel the weight of that scene. The performances are pretty good. Like I said, Matt Damon plays this character that's unaware of how to pull off this heist. He thinks just robbing a bank would be going into a bank, having a gun and say, I need some money. And he thinks that's how people rob banks. And Casey Affleck's trying to go into detail for all of that. Casey Affleck, he has a troubled past. They don't really go too deep into. I like Jack Harlow for his role, and Hung Chau, really interesting character within here as well. Ving Rhames and Ron Perlman, they're serviceable within this movie. Not one character really stands out as the best character within this movie. So The Instigators, I think, is a film that had the right like plot and characters, but it didn't allow for like the intensity of these heists that come out. It didn't allow for the drama between the characters and that progression of them. It tried to have this comedy back and forth between the characters that felt very forced and didn't allow for like that energy to flow throughout this movie. It's got the right script and right characters and actors involved with the film, but they didn't do much with it to make it stand out from other films in this genre. So I wanted more from The Instigators. I felt kind of bored for most of this film and wanting something exciting to happen or have some kind of like gripping conversations between the characters. I was just waiting for something to happen, and it never happened. By the end of this film, I wasn't impressed with it, and I wasn't moved by anything within this film. So The Instigators, it was a big letdown. I expected more coming from Matt Damon and Casey Affleck in terms of their performances, and Doug Liman as a director handling a lot of action scenes. There could have been some intensity, some unique moments from him as a director, but just did not work in this film. So it's a very forgettable movie on Apple TV Plus. I'm glad I watched it, but it's not one I'm going to watch again. So before I give you my score for The Instigators, make sure to check out my channel. Here I do movie reviews, trailer actions, ranking videos, all that fun movie related content that you see on YouTube. I do it all here, so hit that subscribe button to get it all in one spot. I'm gonna go ahead and give The Instigators a C. Thank you guys for checking my review for The Instigators. Have you guys seen it on Apple TV Plus? What'd you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Just Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.